Hey guys, it's Christina. How's it going? So in the past I've shared a lot of different classroom management tips. To go along with that, it's really important to have a lot of rewards in place to go with it. So I want to talk about some different programs that I have used that I've really loved. Okay, so as I go through these, I'm going to put them in order from when I've done them in the year because I feel like each one falls in different places for the year. So the first one I want to talk about, it's called Lucky Squares. And I didn't come up with this, my team did from one of the schools I taught at. But it's a really fun, positive classroom management system to put in place. As far as like being able to take a reward if you need to, it's a little bit more difficult with this one, but it's really great for like boosting and giving them like positive feedback. So what'll happen is we have this huge coordinate grid, an XY coordinate grid, and what'll happen is if I see them doing something well, then I'll say, you get a lucky square. And what they'll do is they will go up and they will pick a square of their choice and they will put their class number into it. Then when it's all filled, I will call out a coordinate. So if it was 1, 2, I'd go over 1, up 2, and whatever boxes are touching that point will get a reward.
So I also do something with the letters at the top. So for the first round, once they fill up the chart, I'll shade in a letter, and once all the letters are shaded in, then they earn some kind of a class reward. After that, the second time, I will have them fill in the word squares.
So it's really great too because it goes along with our curriculum. And it goes along with like XY coordinates. So it's a really fun classroom management system. So another really cool classroom management system I've liked, it was a cash system, like a currency system for a class. And basically they could earn money for doing different things, or it could get taken away if they were doing things they weren't supposed to. And then by a certain point, maybe after like a month or two, we would do a big store and they would bring things from home and they could sell it to each other. And so they wanted to have more cash. The more cash they had, the more they were able to buy. And so it was really so fun for them. And we also did an auction too, where they could save their money for the auction at the end of the day, and they could try and bid on some stuff as well. So just a really fun way to reward them, or also it's great because I could take money if I needed to as a consequence. Okay, this next reward system that I used in the middle of the year is also something that my team came up with, the cash, and then also we would do point cards. And basically we'd give them a card and one side has positive points, the other one has negative points. And they could either earn points or get points taken away. But whatever they got taken away took away from the positive ones. So if they had 2 +1s and a minus, that's really 1 point. So they would try to get as many positive points as they could and not negative. And if I ever marked negative, I would write a little note to the side, something they were doing, so we knew what it was so they could fix it. It's just a great little system to try and reward them for things they're doing, but also it's a system where you can take points if you need to as a consequence. So next what we would do is if we knew a party was coming up that we had planned, we'd give them a week in advance and we'd tell them how many points they need to get to make it to the party. And usually it's an average of how many the class has as a whole. If they don't have a whole lot of points, they have to work really hard to try to get those for the party. And it's just a really good motivator for them to try and make it to that. If they don't make it to the party, or if we just notice they're just unprepared quite a bit, then during that section of time, we do have them work on other things, which is kind of a bummer, like a little study hall. But it was a way for us to get missing work finished, and also it was a great way to reward those that were showing good behavior and doing things they're supposed to do. Another system that another teacher shared with me, a really good friend, is a class dojo. And you can basically reward plus points and minus points for different things. And it's an online system, which is really great. So it keeps everything all together and it calculates things. You can also have the parents connected to it so they can see how many points their child is getting. But the really cool thing is when you give them the point, you can tell them what it's for, or if you're taking a point, you can mark what it's for. And so what I do, since I'm in an upper grade, is I actually have a child in the class, like the president or vice president. They will actually track the points for me. And of course, It needs to be somebody I could really trust. But I'll just say, please give a point to this person or a plus point to this person, or I'll make a whole list and they'll just input it into the system. And then at the end of the day, I'll tell the kids how many points they have. Then once they get points, they can decide what they want to use it for. So I usually have like a whole list of things for them to pick from. So just another fun way to reward them. Okay, so these last two systems are things I came up with. So the first one is you give them those little sticker charts you guys might have seen, and they can earn stickers for different things or stamps. And usually it's for positive things, and I usually do it towards the end of the year, or you could use it in the middle. But once they get their card filled up, they can use that card for something on the list. And usually I have really fun things on the list that are pretty different. They can be a teacher assistant for the day, or maybe them and a friend can come eat lunch with me in the classroom, or they can sit where they want for the full day. There's a lot of really fun things for them to pick from that they really like. Okay, this last classroom reward system is my favorite. And it's something I came up with because I had a tougher class that year. And I remember I had to think of something to motivate them to do well and something to motivate me as well. And I wanted it to be fun too, because I feel like sometimes at the end of the year we all get tired, and anyway, so I really love this. But basically it's a classroom Olympics. What will happen is, there's a lot to it, but basically you could use those little sticker cards that I talked about. You can either put stickers on it or stamps, and they have to fill up, you could say 2 of them or 3 of them to get a bronze medal. And they have to fill up a certain amount to get a silver and then a gold. And so we have a medal ceremony at the end of every day, and I play the Olympic theme, and I put a little crown on their head, and I give them a medal, and it's so fun. The kids have a lot of fun with it. And before we even start, by the way, we have a little opening ceremony, and usually I'll have like a pretend torch and they'll pass the torch. Okay, so to kick off the whole class Olympics, we'll do a whole opening ceremony, and I'll play little clips from different opening ceremonies that we've had before. And then they'll also come up with their own country. I'll put them into groups, and they'll come up with their own flag and their country's name. It could be one they've made up or an actual one, whatever they want to do. And we'll get all set up, so it's really fun. We'll also do a closing ceremony at the end, and I tell them to keep their medals so they can wear them for the closing ceremony. So it's just so fun. The kids really have a lot of fun with it. And when we start the opening ceremonies, by the way, when we do them, they'll come in one at a time, and I'll announce their country, and they'll come in and sit down, and we'll hang their flag right above their desk. We also do group and class events. So basically I'll have a huge poster set up, and I'll have a class event going and a group event going. And basically they'll each have a swimmer or a gymnast or something like that. And every time their group does something really well that I notice, I'll have them move their swimmer or their gymnast. And they have to move it along this little path, and whoever gets to the end first wins, and they get to pick a reward, and they also get to have the trophy at their desk until the next event. And then for the class one, once they get whatever player or thing we're doing, if they get it from one end to the other, then they get a prize as a class. So for example, we'll do soccer, and we'll start at one end of the field, and they'll move their soccer player every time they're doing something well as a class. And when they reach the goal, then we'll say that's, you know, you've scored and you guys just won or something like that, and I'll give them a class reward. So it's just so fun. There's all these different rewards and different fun little things you could do with them. And it's funny, and the kids have a good time, and I have a good time too. Here's some ideas of some different rewards I like to do. So this is for group rewards, class rewards once they fill up a card, individual ones. A lot of really fun stuff for them to pick. Oh, and before I have them do each event, I'll play like a little clip from an actual event. So if we're about to do soccer or basketball or something like that, I'll show some really great moments from the Olympics for that sport, and the kids really love it, and it helps them get into it too. Okay, so those are some different classroom reward systems that I like to do. Hopefully these come in handy. If you guys have something you like to do that you want to share, please comment down below. I would love to hear it. I love getting new ideas. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.